Hello, I'm Alex.
I'm James.
And I'm Dan.
We're the RAGAMUFFINs, and this is episode 50 of the RAGAMUFFIN Music Podcast. A place for us to talk about the music that we love. 50!
The big 5-0.
Can you believe it?
We're there.
And to celebrate, we're doing a bumper shorter podcast.
Listen,
We'll tell you more about that in a minute.
things are changing
All right
around
now.
here.
I've already said.
Things are changing around here. Every 2 weeks, you're going to get a new episode.
You get
That's
more,
it. That
more of
doesn't
us,
change
more of us, if you like it or not. Which hopefully you like it. That'd be nice. Anyway, this episode, we're reviewing brand new albums from Spirit Box and Whitechapel, as well as singles from Scowl and Bury Tomorrow.
And then we're going to be telling you who you need to see at Download Festival.
But first, let's talk about last episode's album recommendations.
So this is the last time we're doing album recommendations. We're going to switch it up a little bit. You're going to find out at the end of the podcast. That means you need to stay tuned. But for our final album recommendations from last podcast, I recommended Downer Part 2 by 1056. I believe you both heard it before.
Well,
but I love it.
I think so. I don't fully remember, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. The second time, or maybe the first time around. I just a absolute masterclass in being fucking brutal, really. Flowed really well, which is like maybe the biggest issue that the deathcore genre probably has with like longer bodies of work, is like how well can you actually make something flow and feel sort of cohesive but with enough variation to it, which is something that a lot of bands maybe don't do. But with this one, I felt like it was just a super easy album to sort of fly through. So, banger.
I mean, in the best way possible, you always know what you're going to get with 1056.
Yep.
Like, you know that the riffs are going to be hard and heavy. You know the snare's going to go boing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the vocals are just going to be intense and growly as well. And that's what you've got on this album.
Good music. Alex, what did you recommend?
I recommended Sanction with the Infringement of God's Plan. An absolutely raucous EP, if I may say so.
I found it fascinating because first listening to it, I would like, without looking at it, I would have placed this like 2000s, early 2010s, just based on like some of the production that you have on it. It felt like it was way older than it actually is. And then looking back at it, it's way more recent. And so I found that absolutely fascinating, where it's just kind of given those old school vibes. And I mean, riffs for fucking days. The guitar tones on it are gorgeous. Vocals on it are insane. Drum mix is gorgeous, and was like a really pleasant surprise to kind of come into with it. And definitely been like one of my like gym rotations recently. It just perfectly fits the vibe that I look for when I need to go and train. Yeah. It's an absolute banger. Really, really fucking enjoyed it.
Hard, isn't it? Goes really hard.
Goes hard.
Yeah, I immediately, like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, I'm going to run to this. And I'm going to run so fast that my shoes are going to melt. And like, I can picture myself as well, like, just being at a gig in a really dark and sweaty room. Probably that upstairs stage at Burn It Down.
Yep.
Just watching people like launch themselves at each other.
Yeah. Violence.
And it would be fucking great.
Violence. Yeah, a banger.
Wonderful.
Dan, you recommended what?
I recommended Common Suffering by Harm's Way.
This was like my first venture into Harm's Way. I'd never actually gone into anything before. I found it, with time, I could enjoy it more, but there wasn't like an immediate connection as I found with a lot of like other bands in kind of like hardcore realm. So it did take a little bit of time for me, to be honest. But as I say, it was a grower, and it got to that point of kind of just spinning it again and again. And I mean, just straight up, just fucking bangs by that point. Like once I got past that point, I'm two-stepping everywhere I go when I'm listening to this.
Yeah, I think to me, the more interesting stuff on this album was actually kind of the more nuanced, non-hardcore-y things that they were doing. Like, the two-stepping and the beatdown riffs are obviously unquestionably sick as fuck. But, like, I think I was quite surprised by how much atmosphere is on this album and how much, with a lot of hardcore, it's very much kind of like instant gratification with, like, songs are really short, they get to the point really quickly. Whereas I feel like this album, it's very much like rewards you just like settling in to some of these songs.
I mean, I feel like this album doesn't necessarily contain their most popular songs, but as an album front to back, this is probably the most, I've forgotten the word, but cohesive.
Yeah,
piece of work that they've done, I think.
I couldn't agree more. God, we went heavy.
Went
on our
heavy for the
recommendations this
final
time.
recommendations.
We've ended on a heavy high.
Nice.
Strong finish.
But should we talk about new music?
Yes, please.
So first of all, we've got the brand new song "Tonight I'm Afraid" by Scowl. Thoughts?
Tonight, brackets.
Tonight,
I'm
open.
afraid.
Tonight,
Matthew.
open brackets. I'm afraid.
Tonight,
Close
Matthew.
brackets.
I'm going to be afraid.
That's my Courage the Cowardly Dog impression.
Very good.
Oh my god. Thoughts?
It's cool. I don't think it's my favourite thing they've ever done, but what I really like about it is it's keeping that sort of raw, like in the studio, like production kind of style, which I'm a really big fan of. I think this is only the start for this album cycle. I think there's going to be a really, really... I mean, there's a lot of hype about this album that's coming up, so I think this is a really strong start. And although it's not blown me out the water yet, I'm hopeful that they're going to release something that's going to really hook me in at some point.
I mean, for me, like, because I think this might be the fourth, maybe the third single from this upcoming album, which is due in April. And I think that they're sort of quietly, like, they've quietly laid the groundwork with these singles for, like, what I think will be, like, a sleeper hit album for the year. Like, I think we talk a lot about, like, kind of the obvious album of the year contenders that we've got coming up this year, like Sleep Token, Loathe, Spirit Box,
Spoilers.
Landmarks,
Whitechapel.
sure. But I think, like, to me, like, Scowler, like, so far this year, kind of like a dark horse band that actually I think I'm going to find myself at the end of the year with a lot of listening time on this album, because I'm really enjoying everything they've done. I feel like it's, for me at least, like, this is like when a band finds their identity. Like, I feel like with what they've done across all of the singles, is they've just created a really nice balanced picture of, like, who they are now. So I thought this was great. I thought it was like listening to it in context with the other singles is what made me enjoy this more, because it's like I kind of see where this is fitting with what they're doing with other stuff.
You
at
see,
the
I've
time.
not paid too much attention to the other singles yet, so maybe that's where I'm missing out.
Yeah, you should, because I think they're really cool.
I will.
Next up, we've got what I think is the fourth single from the upcoming new Barry Tomorrow album. We've got the song "Waiting." I mean, probably as the biggest Barry Tomorrow fan out of the three of us, I like my kind of expectations now for the album are just getting higher and higher with the singles being released. I think in particular with this, I'm really enjoying the guitar tones and the production on it, and just kind of continuing to be in awe of Danny's vocal ability and the range and how consistently kind of just phenomenal the performances end up being. There's just such a strength to it. It's a unique kind of vocal like tone that he carries with his screams, which is easily identifiable as Barry Tomorrow, I think. But there's such a strength behind it, and it's kind of becoming quite an iconic staple of, I mean, British metalcore, but I think metalcore in general, like, you can identify them that easily. The blending now with his vocals and Tom's vocals with the cleans, they've kind of got it down to a T, and just overall, like, the whole package of this song, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a great flow to it. I love some of the lyrical kind of patterns matching with the music. I thought was very cleverly done. And I just kind of expecting amazing things from this band now. They've got a tour that's happening end of the year, which I really need to look at dates and consider going. Not been disappointed seeing them live before, not been disappointed by anything in this album release. I think it will end up being a contender, at least for me, of album of the year based on these singles. But that's me as someone who is a fan of their work anyway. But yeah, I love it.
I think, at least for me, Barry Tomorrow seemed to be quietly becoming one of the front runners and, like, one of the trailblazers in UK metalcore now. They've seen, like, the trend of people starting to, like, put more production quality into some of their music and stuff, and maybe get a bit more melodic and stuff, and they've gone, nah, that ain't for us. Barry Tomorrow are going harder and heavier than I think they ever have before.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
And that's great. I think the singles they've released so far is up there with some of their best work, I think.
I think everything so far has been consistent and just a nice kind of evolution from their previous sound as well. Like you say, there's a lot where it feels like we're going in a heavier direction without compromising like the standard kind of metalcore. You're going to get your song choruses and these things, but some of these verses are just going fucking hard.
Yeah, I mean, coming out of the pandemic, like, I feel like this band have, like we've said, they've become one of the strongest UK metalcore bands going, because I felt like maybe pre-pandemic, when you think about UK metalcore, you immediately go to like Architect, Sleeps, Older Bring Me, and Buried Tomorrow were kind of, to me at least, and I mean this with like with as little disrespect as possible, but maybe like a bit of an afterthought, like
kind
because
of in their shadow.
Yeah, those bands occupied a huge amount of space in the scene, and rightfully so. But I think it's really interesting to see that like those bands in their own ways have kind of veered off that genre, for better or for worse, depending on what you think. But it's cool to see that Buried Tomorrow have kind of emerged through that kind of uncertainty with those bands, because like we're in a state now where you kind of don't really know what you're going to expect from like new Bring Me or new Sleeps. So it's like, I think it's really exciting to kind of have Buried Tomorrow kind of emerge out of that group and be like, we're here, and like really firmly like making their case to like stay. I also think with this song and with their like later releases in general, like I feel like they're now writing to better cater to Danny's voice.
Yeah,
because his voice is actually so aggressive and so like abrasive to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, when we've reviewed their stuff before, I think Alex and I have both said that we've almost been kind of put off by some of Danny's vocals and like it not quite working for us and being a little grating. But I don't know if they've adapted the music or whether his voice is just adapted slightly and developed. But yeah, I've got no issue with them at all now.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
I mean, the thing that you say there as well, like with comparing to the other bands, like this is a band in Buried Tomorrow that were touring with Sleeps and Architects back in the late 2000s. So like they've grown up with them and obviously seen Architects go on to number ones, Bring Me a headline download, Sleeps are doing Ali Pally and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be the album that is going to really push them forwards and define Buried Tomorrow and put them at that next level. I think this is going to be something good, and I've got a lot of great expectations for this. So keep your eyes open for that.
Yeah, I mean, the last album, Seventh Son, was it called? That was like,
great.
I mean, I liked the previous album as well, but that was the album that really started to get me into them. And so far with these singles, I think this album has the potential to be even better.
Let's go.
And phenomenal live. They are so good.
Amazing.
If you have the chance to go and see them, take it.
But look at tour dates later. Next up, we've got what I believe is the 9th studio album, brand new one from Whitechapel, Hymns in Dissonance. There it is.
Now, I don't listen to a whole lot of deathcore, but I've listened to Whitechapel quite a lot before. I think I caught a glimpse of them at Download a couple of years ago, when they had an absolutely packed tent on the Doghouse stage. And yeah, I'm a big fan of theirs. I don't like go back and listen to them that often, but when I do, and I mean this in like the best way, there's something comforting about how predictable they are. Like they're not one of these. A lot of deathcore seems to like be on the trope these days of trying to do the most outlandish and surprising thing possible with like pig squeals, whether it's like an attempt to go viral or something by just doing something, some ridiculous kind of vocal, like some horrible sounding guitar that is like offensive but like in a nice way. But Whitechapel like seemingly aren't asked about doing any of that. They're just, their thing is just to make really, really good deathcore music. And the reason I say it's predictable is like they build their song structure in a way of like, you know there's a breakdown coming. You know that there's about to be like some blast beats or something come in. Like they aren't trying to take you by surprise. They're like leading you through the album, and they're just going, you're going to like this. That something's coming that you're going to really like. And I do really like it.
Yeah. I'm so happy. I'm
Go
so
on, James.
happy.
Take it away.
Christ, yeah, just been kind of delving into them more recently, like especially with the singles that have come out, like with title track, like with A Visceral Wretch, like they were pulling me in immediately. I think like just going off other songs as well, Prisoner 666 to start it off is such a strong way to kick open this album. there is that predictability there with it, but like it still draws you in so easily. Phil's vocals are just still amazing to kind of understand how a human can do things like that with their voice. It's a phenomenal thing. Production on this, I think, is fantastic. The album, and again, you can't always say this with a deathcore album, I feel it just flows so well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few tracks that like literally flow into
it is, and it feels
which
like
I'm always a big fan of.
You don't get that often with deathcore, and to kind of have that level of care and level of thought is what has made this turn into what I think is a phenomenal release, and something that I will be listening to for the rest of the year. Will come up in discussions, at least for me, at the end of the year, and continues to pull me back into this album. I think there's some phenomenally written tracks, and this just makes me even more excited to see them at Downlift Fest, and we'll talk about that more later. But like, I was always had that intrigue of seeing Whitechapel live for the kind of novelty of, oh, I can hear Saw as the Law and hear Phil's vocals live, because that's kind of what you hear as a fringe person, like when you're not into their music. This is now pushing me into becoming a massive Whitechapel fan off the back of this album, and I love it. I'm in. I'm sold.
I say, like I mentioned, it's got this kind of comfortable predictability, but like at the same time, it doesn't outstay its welcome as well.
No.
Like a lot of deathcore bands almost like go into that proggy side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I like what like bands like the Acacia Strain have done with like the double album and stuff. But this is just a really easy listen. It doesn't get tiresome. It just stays around for as long as it needs to.
And how often can you put easy listening and deathcore together?
Exactly.
It's not an easy thing to do. It's really not. Yeah, banger release and good shit all around.
So we reviewed the Architects album on the last episode, and we felt like that was maybe setting the benchmark and like setting the target that the new Spirit Box album, Tsunami Sea, would have to live up to. And personally, I think that tsunami wave has come along and absolutely blown Architects out of the water.
Agreed.
I think straight from the start, I mean, firstly, starting the album with songs that aren't singles
Love it.
Love that so
is
much.
like, because you're immediately getting something new when you first listen. And not only that, but like the opening track, just having those bludgeoning, like slow, chuggy riffs kind of leading you in. And then coming into Black Rainbow, which is arguably the heaviest song that Spirit Box have done. It just sets the tone for the whole album, and like I'm already on board from that point.
Yep.
I think one of the best things about this album is they've got the balance just right. Spirit Box are great at doing the heavy stuff. They're great at doing the sort of floaty, more melodic stuff with Courtney's voice and the versatility of it. And I think that's maybe where they've lost me with the EPs. I loved Internal Blue, and then the EPs, there's a couple of songs on there, on both of them that I like, but they never really felt like they had much of a direction. But maybe the reason is they were playing around with the sound a bit to nail it on here, because they absolutely have. There's the right amount of the floaty stuff, the right amount of the heavy stuff, and there's some songs like A Haven with Two Faces as well, which almost lean on like the proggy side of things, of like starting gentle and like going into just relentlessly heavy stuff towards the end. That really long, I haven't timed it, but that long scream that Courtney does. I think this is the best metalcore album I've heard in years.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think actually as well, to take it that step further, I love Eternal Blue. After more time sitting with it and just letting it rest, probably seeing some of it live, I think this will overtake Eternal Blue in my view of like Spirit Box albums. I know everyone thinks of Eternal Blue as such a phenomenal debut, and it really is. But I think the way that Spirit Box have written this, the performances, the diversity, but still maintaining that flow, the songwriting, like you say, with Courtney's kind of heaviest screams and heaviest songs they've done on there, it sounds like she's pissed and it's coming through on that vocal delivery. This to me is a phenomenal album, and really cements Spirit Box as still like a newcomer in the grand scheme of things, but as a solid high level act that you are going to see at some point on a similar trajectory to bands like Sleep Token, Bad Omens, who get considered for the massive festival bills. This is going to propel Spirit Box to the fucking big leagues.
Well, this brings me back to a point I made in the last episode about Architects. Architects used to be the trailblazers. They were the ones leading the way in the metalcore scene. I've kind of accepted now that they're maybe not on that level anymore. Spirit Box are the ones that are taking the torch. They're one. There's a few bands out there that are really like not changing much because there's not too much experimental on here, but they're really leading the way and setting an example now. I think that Spirit Box are one of those bands that are the genre leaders now.
Not too much experimental, but beautifully fine-tuned.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Go on.
I mean, yeah, instant classic
Yeah.
is the phrase that comes to mind. I mean, I've said quite a few times on this podcast over the like few years that we've been listening to Spirit Box is like I've always kind of struggled to get on board at the time. Like I felt it really, particularly with the 2 EPs, that it took me like a good 6 months to a year post-release for me to actually like gel with them. And I was feeling kind of a bit of that sentiment with the singles and like leading up to this album. I wasn't really sure if I was going to be on board with it or not. But first full listen through, I was like, yeah, this is
Straight away.
This is it. Like, it is going to be like era defining for a long time, I think. Like the way that we look at albums like Sempiternal, and like the Architects, All Our Gods era, and like the albums surrounding that, it's going to be exactly the same. Like this is going to be a cornerstone album for metalcore for like a long time. And yeah, I think you guys have already kind of said it, but it's the balance on this album that makes it so good because, like you say, they excel at everything they do, but it's just like felt a bit kind of just uncontrolled maybe across the last few EPs and stuff. Like it's just been a bit like I kind of can't really see the vision, and I feel like now it's kind of like all of that has been paid off like 100 times over because this album is such a flawless execution of like every facet of their sound.
And I think it is flawless as well. I think every song on this album adds some kind of value.
Yeah.
There's no filler tracks.
Well, yeah, and that makes the repeatability so good because if you want to go into it and kind of focus your attention on like enjoying the heavier stuff, you can get that from this album. If you want to go into it and focus on some of the like lighter, more melodic stuff, you can get that. But yeah, the whole album it's structured and flows perfectly.
Also, production-wise, everything just sounds so perfectly well crafted. Guitar tones are gorgeous throughout. My only one criticism that I'll still keep going on about, I want more Josh Gilbert vocals involved.
He's there.
He's there.
He's there.
I want it just a bit more in the mix.
Maybe they're saving him.
Like, just give me some of that. Like, that's the one thing. Just more Josh Gilbert vibes.
Give me some of that.
But yeah, amazing album. What a great month of reviews.
Yeah, I think quite a profound thing from this album as well is like a big criticism that I've seen online of like current and like modern metalcore is like the overly crisp production, and I do think Spirit Box have probably been an offender of that in the past, but I feel like on this album there's a very conscious intent to kind of make it like, obviously they're not going to put out something that sounds like the Sanction EP or sounds like Killing Me Softly that we talked about last episode, but there is like a conscious effort I think here to make it feel grittier and a bit more raw. And I saw an interview with Mike where he talked about like the emphasis they wanted to put on like white noise and like that kind of like constant feeling, which I think also is what ties this whole thing together. Kind of feel like there's something under the surface of the whole thing that kind of keeps, ironically that it's called Tsunami Sea, because it feels like there's something there that kind of ebbs and flows as far as like how much space it takes up.
Well,
like,
lyrically
audibly.
as well, a lot of it is based around, particularly on No Loss, No Love, of like there being an island, but there's something hidden underneath.
Yeah. I think this is great.
Another point that I thought of was it completely dismisses the trend of heavy band becomes popular, they start making more melodic music.
Yep.
This is like the heaviest stuff they've done.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And like the darkest and the angriest and like you said, the grittiest. And I'm so for that. as well, comparing it to Eternal Blue again as well, because that's what a lot of people are going to be doing that. My opinion on it is Eternal Blue has some of the best songs they've done and some of my favourite songs they've done, but as a cohesive album, this is just perfect, I think.
Yep. Completely
I love
agree
it
with
a
you.
lot.
They've already headlined and sold out Ali Pali. So my question to you guys is, what does this album do for them in the UK going forward? Because I've got kind of two predictions-ish.
I think this depends on seeing the reaction at download, being on main stage in a good spot. I think where they are is very, very good, and I think a lot of it will come off the back of that and just continuing this release. I think we're looking towards like much bigger arena tour potential with that kind of thing, whether you have Ali Pali, I can't think of other venues off the top of my head, but something more akin to, I guess, in a way,
Wembley probably.
yeah, that kind of like the Sleep Token formula in terms of how they progressed and where they went on their kind of like, was it December last year, their big arena tour?
Late last year.
Late
November,
last year?
yeah.
November. But I think it's very much like the idea of following that pattern, perhaps, is my thinking.
Yeah.
Yep, I think you're spot on. I think they already had a lot of hype about them and were already like one of the biggest prospects in the heavy music scene. But I think there's probably a big bunch of people that were already on board before this album came out. I think there's going to be even more people that hearing people talk about this album, and now that it's released, checking it out and going, right, okay, I get it now. I'm like a Spirit Box fan, so I think they're gonna like the momentum's just gonna keep snowballing and keep going. If they did Ali Pali this year, I can see them doing like at least Wembley-sized venues at the end of the year. I mean, Architects are having a big punt at doing the O2. I'd say Spirit Box are probably bigger than Architects these days.
I think that's a fair
Huge.
argument.
So
Fair argument, yep.
why not?
What are your thoughts, Sam?
I don't know if I'm way off base with these, but I was wondering about the prospect of Bloodstock headliner next year,
I think it could be viable.
or the heavy headliner of Slam Dunk.
I think
is pretty comfortable.
their Slam Dunk one is comfortable, and I think the Bloodstock isn't out of the question.
I think in terms of size, they could easily do Bloodstock. Like
It's
now,
catalogue size more than.
I think they've got it now, though.
yeah, they've got.
I think they've got
Yeah.
enough for that. I think they could
Yeah,
pull that
definitely.
off.
It's just whether or not Bloodstock is
Two
like the right vibe
albums,
for them.
2 EPs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Architects did it last
Architects
year.
did it. I think it could be trending in that direction. Bloodstock does tend to be diversifying more of its lineup. I mean, you have for metalcore, you have Trivium headlining it this year.
Yeah.
You've had Killswitch there before as well. So I think there is definitely a pathway for bands to have a headline slot at something like Bloodstock, a little bit smaller, before any idea of potential of download down the line.
The only reason I'd say they wouldn't do Bloodstock is because of boring music business reasons. They seem to be, like Sleep Token, have been adopted by Live Nation. So they'd probably be more likely to do something like an arena tour promoted by Live Nation and then a big slot of download.
Don't know, it just popped into my head, but actually just thinking of it as well. Sleep Token a headline in download before Architects. I don't know why it just popped into my head. That's quite an interesting little thing, to be honest. Yeah. Anyway.
It's because Sleep Token are suddenly bigger than Architects. Which is just it's great though.
It's mad to think
to
of.
keep it on subject. The amount of bands that are just having massive breakthroughs
Yeah.
and kind of starting to mingle and sneak with the mainstream media and mainstream industry as well. Architects charted at number 2,
Yeah.
behind Sabrina Carpenter last week. Spirit Box are looking likely to chart again. I think they're up against Lady Gaga.
Yeah. And being at the Grammys along with Not
Yeah,
Loose.
yeah,
as well.
exactly. They're
Like,
rubbing shoulders with
You've got like Not
mainstream,
Loose
being
Pop-
mistaken for Poppy, but
Yeah.
at least being on the carpet and at the events
and then you've got like
is massive.
Poppy on late night TV like just a week ago maybe.
Last
Yeah.
night.
Like last night.
Last night,
damn.
Jimmy Kimmel, yeah.
And I mean, just the successes of these people is only going to lead to more and more people getting into alternative and heavy music.
Yeah.
Shit we love to see.
And it keeps the whole industry afloat.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've seen a lot on Twitter lately about like I don't know if you guys have seen it, but like there's a lot of discourse going on about like real versus false metalcore.
Oh, that's
And it's like kind of bands like Spirit Box and Architects and like Sleeps are kind of lumped into this like false metalcore like label. I just think the whole thing's kind of bullshit because like at the end of the day, an album like this from Spirit Box is going to inspire, you know, a group of kids to get together and play the angriest, loudest, heaviest music possible.
And not just kids as well. It's a difficult subject for us to comment on, being three white men, but a band fronted by a woman like doing massive things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Being like one of the best vocalists in the scene right now.
Mm-hmm.
Being an absolute boss is only going to inspire more and more women to start bands and to get into this kind of music.
And also,
which is what we need. It's great to see such a role
metalcore.
model.
Metalcore is one of the like broadest heavy genres there is. There's such a spectrum of what you can class as metalcore. So to try and have some kind of debate as to what's real and what's not, just there's no fucking point. Why bother?
Yeah.
Twitter. So that was the last 2 weeks. As we've said, we are now fortnightly.
Yes.
We are here more often. So, albums to look forward to coming up soon. We've got Bleed From Within with Zenith, Thornhill with Bodies, Scowl, We Are All Angels, As It Is, Never Happy Ever After, X, Employed to Serve, Full and Star, and Landmarks, The Darkest Place I've Ever Been. There is only one right answer of which one you can select that you're most looking forward to next month, and I'll say now that it's Landmarks. Please confirm with me.
Yes,
Yes.
James.
Thank you.
But Thornhill as well. They're great.
I've heard a lot. Yeah, I haven't listened to a lot of it, but I've heard a lot of good things about the stuff they've been releasing lately. So I'm sure that'll be cool.
I'm quite intrigued to actually maybe properly dip my toe into a little bit more Bleed From Within. They've always been great whenever I've seen them before. Yeah, just dip my toe in. They've always been great live before. Seen them a few times now and kind of caught songs here and there.
I saw their entire set at Download last year.
Did you?
Yeah.
I think
Both songs.
Oh God, yeah. That was a nightmare. But like, they're a really good band. I just haven't really had the time to sit down and listen to them, so kind of would like to spend a bit of time with that. But Landmarks.
I think the As It Is album is actually going to be quite fun.
Some of the features on there are great.
The features are fun. It's cool to hear stuff kind of reimagined. Like
They seem to be having a really good
they
time.
seem to be enjoying themselves as well. I think like that's fine. No, you know, just good to have just a bit of fun in it.
Yeah.
So very happy for that. And as I said earlier, I think Scowl is going to be like a sleeper hit album for a lot of people. So
Landmarks. Gig talk. Where did you go in this last month?
I went to the O2 Academy in Oxford, specifically O2 Academy 2 in Oxford, the upstairs one, to see Caskets. I mainly wanted to go because the boys in Listel were supporting. They absolutely smashed it. They played a brand new song, which is very, very good. And Mike was wearing a Ragamuffin t-shirt, which you can buy
legend.
from our website, which I've just forgotten the URL of.
Ragamuffin666.uk.
That's it. Go there and buy one. We've got 2 different ones to choose from, black and white.
Link in description.
But yeah, Listel smashed it. They're going to be at Takedown Festival and Download Festival this year, so if you go in, make sure you check them out. Who else supported?
Colorblind?
Colorblind, that's it. They were pretty good. I think it was their first time in the UK. Really enjoyed their set. I thought their vocalist sounded a bit like Vic from Pierce the Veil, which is a very good thing. He's got a great voice. And it was nice to see Mr. Ash Green from formerly of Holding Absence filling in on the drums.
Great job.
I don't know, like drums must have done something horrible to his family because the way he just destroys a kit is just obscene and should be censored. And then Caskets. Now, every time I've seen Caskets in the past, they seem to have had some kind of technical issue. So I was hoping this would be the time where I get to like properly experience them and really understand what they're about. And something was clearly wrong with their vocalist in his. He just, I mean, he fair play to him. Like they smashed through it and just played it. Still a great show. Still really enjoyed it. But you could just tell that he was really struggling to like find the key and like stay there. Lewis, who of course is a vocalist himself in a band called Worst Wishes, who you might be familiar with, pointed out for the closing song, which was like a bit more of like a slow ballad kind of thing, he jumped out into the crowd, which could be perceived as like some great crowd interaction, but Lewis was very much like, no, you just can't hear what you're singing, so he's trying to hear the rest of the band. It's a valid point.
Mm.
So again, a shame that yet again Casket seem to have suffered from some sound issues, but still a very, very, very enjoyable show. And I'll still give them another try next time. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I need to stop going to Casket shows, and then they'll have one that just goes off without a hitch.
The rest of the tour was probably absolutely fine.
Probably.
And then you walked in.
Yeah, but no, it was a good night. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks to Mike for wearing a t-shirt on stage. That was really cool.
Love it. I took a trip for a very local gig, just up to Scotland. Went to go and visit Callum, who you may have seen from some of the vlogs and stuff before. And we went to go see Paleface Swiss at SWG3 Glasgow, I believe it's called, with support from Acacia Strain and Desolated.
Try saying that venue name after a can of Tenants.
SWG3. I can't, how many times can you do it quickly?
Is it easy to say it in a Scottish accent?
I'm not even going to attempt this, so nice try baiting that. I think...
Cancelled north of the border.
I think we've seen Desolated before. Was it a Burn It Down? I want to say, potentially.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And I kind of caught a bit of the set, but at that point, I hadn't really listened to them much. Kind of done a little bit over time since then, but the set that they performed to open it up was phenomenal. Within the space of the first song, you could tell the crowd just bought into them. And it started from one person starting, like, opening a pit, essentially, from the opening kind of riff, to everyone just going at it by the end of the song. They completely converted the crowd, and you could tell they were grateful. He was like, this is the first time we've had push pits. We've got crowd service happening. This is mad. And so that just kicked it off at a beautiful kind of pace. Acacia Strain I was intrigued by after listening to a lot of their stuff beforehand, and was very impressed. And then realizing the drummer was also the drummer of End was like, that was sick, because he was just tight as hell. Like, the drum performance in particular for Acacia Strain was phenomenal.
I don't listen to a lot of deathcore, but the Acacia Strain are a band that I really am full of.
I was impressed.
I really, really like them.
I was really impressed. But then we got to Paleface, and after seeing them before at the Counterparts tour, which I think was 2 years ago technically now, I was very much looking forward to this, especially after Curse came out at the start of the year, which I loved, and they were phenomenal. And this was the gig that has fully now made me a Paleface Swiss fan. Live sound was incredible. You kind of got samples in there for some of the bits and stuff, but you can tell with some of the guitar solos that are happening, there's no backing tracks of guitar work underneath. You can tell everything was purely live, which just then adds to the experience. Just throughout, the whole set was fantastic. The crowd interactions were amazing. It was probably also one of the best crowds I've actually ever been a part of. Everyone there was just so nice and happy and loved being there. There were no people being dickheads. Everyone was just loving being there in the moment.
So I've heard that about Scottish crowds.
Honestly, it was absolutely kind of mind-blowing just seeing that and just coming away blown away, really, from that. Venue was incredible. It felt like kind of a bit of a hardcore venue with how it looked. That just adds to the kind of aesthetic and enjoyment of it, and just... yeah, the whole experience of coming away from that was phenomenal.
The X in the venue name stands for extreme.
Exactly. Just
Alex hates that you loved that one.
Christ.
Very good.
Yeah, gig vlog's out now. You can go and check that out. It was a fantastic time, and yeah, I'm fully sold on Paleface Swiss now. I'm there. Banging.
I just looked over to Alex as if he was about to have
no, he didn't have
a review
anything
to say.
I've got nothing to say. Oh, but to be fair, the latest Desolated single, Bite Down, is sick. We didn't review it, but
banger.
It's a banger. So.
Any gigs coming up, team? I don't think I've got anything at the moment.
Yes.
What have you got?
Tomorrow, I will be... No, not tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, I'll be seeing Bear's Den in the Royal Albert Hall, celebrating 10-year anniversary of their first album, Islands. I'm very, very excited.
Your favourite band?
Yeah, I think my favourite band. So that's going to be great. And then at the end of the month, Bill Murray. Yes, please, thank you.
Forgot about that Bill Murray tour. Might see if I can get on it somewhere.
Get on it.
Where are you going?
Bristol.
I'll see what I can do.
You got anything else coming up?
Yeah, Bill Murray, Bristol.
Yeah, Bill Murray. Another I can think of. We've got a band called Keg playing in the shop on Sunday. That should be fun.
They're playing a keg?
They might do.
Is
They're
it
a
clown?
bit weird. Yeah. Like their album cover, they're dressed as clowns.
Oh, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Wow,
Okay.
Shout out Keg.
Big up Keg. Oh, this will be going out after it, won't it?
Yeah.
Oh. Keg was
Maybe
great.
Before.
How was Keg?
Keg was brilliant.
Yeah, nice.
Sold out. It was awesome.
Sadly, I don't think I've got anything planned at the moment. I need to look into some tours. Do some gig booking, I think. Yeah. Sad. Anyway,
We do have festivals to look forward to, though.
we do have festivals to look forward
One
to.
of them is called Download Festival.
It's quite a small festival,
You
isn't it?
you might have heard of it. You might not have heard of it.
And there's lots of bands playing it
Loads of bands.
on multiple days.
Really?
Wow.
And the splits of those days have recently been announced, so we're going to look at them and maybe try and decide which day is the best.
Right then, Friday 13th of June.
Right then.
Friday 13th of June. And we just kick it off with the headline of Green Day.
Friday the 13th, spooky.
I love it. I was born on Friday 13th. It's all good vibes. I've been a fan of Green Day since a kid. Like, I credit them as being one of the biggest pathway bands for everyone, but also for me getting into heavy music without finding American Idiot when I was a kid. I wouldn't be here now, to be honest. So this is a set that I've wanted to see for such a long time. Not really been a big fan of their music from anything since 21st Century Breakdown, so I am going to be here for the vibes of that album and prior.
Well, this
But-
is the thing, right? Like, I think a lot of this set is going to be down to what they play.
Yeah.
But with that being said,
I want to see
it's their first time headlining Download.
Yeah.
So they're probably just going to play bangers anyway. Like,
I
I
hope
think
so.
we're going to get a set that's going to be like a struggle to sit.
I don't
through,
think so. I don't think so. But like, yeah, this is a big one. To see this there, and also just to see the name of Green Day on Download, I think is definitely a lovely kind of change of the guard, looking to the future of Download changing and evolving. So I'm happy.
There's no bigger sign of a change of the guard than having Weezer on the main stage at Download Festival. And I think that is going to be such a good time. Like, some of the party anthems that they've got. And they're one of those bands you don't even realise how many enjoyable songs they've got until you like stick them on shuffle or something, or go and see them on the main stage. Because yeah, this is going to be so much fun. Pork and Beans saying so.
I think
I can't wait.
the guitar lick in Buddy Holly is probably going to be like the loudest crowd moment of the whole
I
weekend.
think so. This
It's
is going to
gonna be
be this year's Limp Bizkit.
I'm very excited by Boston Manor on the main stage.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah,
They're
huge.
a band that I feel like have been like I want them to be massive.
Yep.
Like, I feel like they've got this effortlessly cool vibe about them. Their music's so good. Their live shows are always great. I think this is like a really, really good set of bands around them, either side, for them to flourish in a setting like this. I think them on the main stage is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think they have played the main stage before, but like this is a great opportunity for them to showcase how far they've come since the last time. I think it must have been maybe 2017 when they did the main stage before. So yeah, a lot's changed since then. They're a completely different band. And yeah, they kick ass. They just need to be put in front of people and given the platform to show what they can do. And this is their opportunity, I think.
The second stage on the Friday, it's not for me.
No.
But I will say there is one exception, and that is North Lane.
Yep.
And the fact that I've only seen them once live is insane to me, because I thought they were great when they supported Sleep Token. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this set. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
McFly.
Yeah,
It's going to be fun. Like, you can't take it for anything serious. Like, a little bit different from Busted. I feel that kind of caters towards a download crowd maybe slightly more. But saw them at Slam Dunk many years ago. It was fun. It was enjoyable. If you don't like it, don't go. But you know that tent's going to be absolutely fucking
It's going to be
packed.
rammed, yeah.
You ain't getting in. It's going to be like busted. But yeah, it'd be fun. Fuck it. Why not?
The Avalanche stage for me always has like such a stacked lineup. It seems like that's kind of my stage. That's where they're putting my kind of music. And like, firstly, Elliot Minor is such a massive throwback. There's going to be a lot of Elder emos that enjoy that one. But for me, Trophy Eyes.
Yeah, man.
Like, you don't get that many opportunities to see them in the UK nowadays, it seems. So I'm going to be pouncing on that. Bad Nerves are fucking great as well. Really cool punk band. So it'll be nice to see something a bit different, I think. Stepping away from what you'd normally expect Download to be booking, which is really cool. And I'll save some for Alex. I won't keep going on about the Avalanche stage.
Well, I'm sure you know who I'm looking at right now.
Mhm.
And I'm very excited for. Unpeople, of course. One of the most exciting, like, up-and-coming bands in the entirety of the UK alternative music scene right now, I think. Like, they released, I would say, a flawless EP, especially for a debut EP. They've got such a, like, charm to them. You've charmed me, Unpeople. By, like, how they write stuff that's so rowdy but so singable, but it's yeah. I think they're fantastic. So I think this is a more than deserved spot for them to be on the Avalanche stage. It's very exciting.
I remember going back to a Slam Dunk, God knows how many years ago at this point, and probably even a Midlands one when that was still running, and
It
just
was 2015.
2015, is that the one?
Yeah, because I know what band you're going to talk about.
Crossfaith.
Yep.
I've still never really gone into their discography and like actually taken the time, but it always still stands out to me that whenever I see their name on some kind of lineup, how amazing they were live back then. And I'm hoping now, gonna speak to myself with it, this being the motivation to actually try and listen to their music and get into it, because I remember that live set so well, not knowing a single thing about them. And so I want to make sure I can kind of have the time to listen and go and see that again and relive that experience in a way.
And they're another band that I don't think comes to the UK too often.
No,
so this
take
is
advantage.
a great opportunity to see them.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by Svalbard. You recommended an album a
Yeah,
while ago.
I think
And I really
that's going
enjoyed
to be
it.
really good.
And so there's a lot of intrigue to kind of go back and revisit that and go and see them live. And similarly on that stage, we've got our boys Graphic Nature. Like, we can speak about them for days and say so many amazing things. You can check out interviews we've done with them before. The 2 albums they've put out are phenomenal. Just if you haven't listened to Graphic Nature, go and listen to Graphic Nature. There's nothing else I can tell you right there, to be honest. So then,
Shall I start us off on this one?
Saturday 14th, go on.
Fucking Sleep Token. This is going to be phenomenal. I have really high expectations with this set. Not only because they're already an excellent band, but like because of like a lot of their music being based around lore and like kind of world building, this just feels like the setting for them to do something really, really cool and really, really interesting. And at the same time, having the expanse of like the usual length of a Download headline set, which is normally like at least an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. Like, what are they going to do with this set? Album expected before the festival as well. I don't know what else I can say about this band and like how much they deserve to be in that slot. It's going to be absolutely incredible. I cannot fucking wait.
I'm kind of intrigued to go and see Poppy. I feel like
I'm
there were
very
a lot
intrigued, yeah.
of good things said about her album at the end of last year, and I haven't really given it the time of day to go back to. And so with that kind of intrigue is going to push me towards doing that. And yeah, there's just a lot of intrigue there with that, to be honest, from my side.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think there must be a reason why she's one of the most talked about artists in the scene right now. I've just been snoozing on listening to that album, but
Same.
that will change.
It is a good album. It's a bit like almost bipolar at times. Like it seems to have a bit of a, what's the phrase, an identity crisis going on.
Okay,
because it's
intriguing.
It does a lot of things, but it does them all well. It's a very diverse album. It's like a box of chocolates. Something I think that's hilarious is Shinedown being sub for Sleep Token.
Doesn't fit.
They're like a country butt rock band.
It's an
does not
interesting
fit.
one. It's certainly an interesting one, but whatever.
But hey, Sleep Token had Bill Murray on their
Mm,
headliner,
true.
so whatever.
The thing about main stage to me that is the most exciting is the 1-2 start of Static Dress and Loathe.
Yes.
I mean, we're seeing it at the top of the bill with Sleep Token, but this lineup really does feel like the best celebration of UK up and coming, like younger bands that Download I think has ever done.
And I'll tell you what, we've criticised Download a lot for it in the past,
Yeah.
but the last couple of years there are the signs that they are starting to like rotate new bands in, give people a chance, put some bands on the big stage and give them the opportunity to show what they've got.
Yeah.
And you can watch our videos criticising Download, the problem with Download, and the problem with Download revisited.
And maybe we'll do a third one.
Maybe we
'cause
do.
They both did
Let's
quite
see-
well.
Let's see what happens after this year.
Problem with Download fixed.
Question mark?
Uh,
James in the thumbnail like this?
yeah, maybe. New Loathe music, please.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
Oh,
was
it's got to
great.
be, hasn't it?
Come on,
This
this is the
time.
opportunity. This is the time
for
to
it.
play it.
I think
I need it.
new Static Dress as well, I reckon.
Yeah, boy.
Let's move down to the Opus stage,
Otherwise
but we'll call
everyone.
it the second
Yeah.
stage.
I mean, the one band that really stands out for me here is Polaris.
I thought you were going to say the Darkness.
No,
I was actually going to say the Darkness. I think that's going to be really fun. But
I think it will be fun, but like Polaris for me, some beautiful metalcore. They are phenomenal live bands. I can't really fault them. I recommend them to so many people. It's going to be an amazing set. I just know it's going to be that way. It's a given.
I would love to see Sex Pistols with Frank Carter. I think that's going to be a really cool set. Seeing clips of the shows they've played already, it's really interesting seeing Frank Carter's energy and his vocal applied to like the rowdiness of Sex Pistols songs. However, they'll probably clash with Sleep Token. So there's only one choice for me in that one.
Sex Pistols.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, other than that, Polaris, like the big band I'd want to see on that stage. And the Darkness would be a laugh.
of course,
New album out soon.
Beans on Toast.
Dreams
Great
on
name.
Toast.
Dreams on Toast?
Dreams on
Is that
Toast,
it?
yeah.
Oh, close enough.
as we move down to the Avalanche stage, there's a bit of a UK emo's wet dream going on with the 1-2 Mallory Knox Twin Atlantic. Dan, I
Yeah, I'm
think
there.
that calls your name.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry,
that's like the Green Goblin.
I was
mask to you.
distracted then. Yeah, that's great. I mean, Twin Atlantic have always been around, but it's almost like pairing them with Mallory Knox, who are making a comeback, also like almost brings Twin Atlantic back up. It makes me wonder whether they'll be inclined to do some kind of throwback set for the occasion as well. But amazing to see Mallory Knox back. Saw them at Slam Dunk last year. And it felt odd, because Slam Dunk the last couple of years, it seemed to really love sort of doing reunion sets and bringing bands back. But it feels great to hear those songs again and have them with Mikey, their original vocalist, leading them again. It's awesome. But we've overlooked Dayseeker there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're another band that I just keep missing, and still every time there's been the opportunity to see them, I just haven't been able to take up the opportunity for some reason. So, I mean, I feel like they'd be stupid to clash them with Sleep Token because of like the similarities.
Same
with them.
demographic with that. Just wrapped
So
up a new album as well.
Hopefully, this is finally my chance.
Just wrapped up a new album I saw. So definitely.
It's
Split
also
Chain.
yeah. I was going to say really exciting to see Split Chain in that spot. I think that's a really huge spot for them to
Yeah,
be
it's a
in.
great step up from seeing them on the Dogtooth stage
Yeah.
to now step up to the Avalanche. It's awesome.
They seem to have been really putting the fucking work in, like since last download.
Smashing it in the US at the moment as well.
Absolutely paying off. We've got the new album coming sometime soon. Haven't really got much detail, but
It's
It's
coming.
coming.
But we did get the first scoop on that, I think.
we did. So
Watch our interview with them at Burn Down Festival on the channel
we're
now.
legit journalists. We can say that.
We're journalists.
Wow.
Wow. I'm intrigued to see Silosis again on the Dogtooth. After seeing them on the tour with Fit for an Autopsy last year, I hadn't really delved into their music, but I was very impressed with the live performance. And so definitely something in particular down there on the Dogtooth that I'll be very interested in seeing again. Would recommend.
Cradle of Filth on that stage feels a bit mad, didn't it?
Yeah.
That feels crazy. It's going to be interesting to see when the set times are announced, because I'd love to see a bit of that, and I don't know how late it runs comparative to the main stage, but if we can get to a bit of the filth, absolutely.
I just think of what's his name on the IT crowd whenever I see
Richmond
on the IT crowd whenever I see Cradle of Filth. Just connotations.
Coffin fodder.
Yes.
There he is.
No, the absolute huge shout out for the Dog 2 stage on the Saturday is obviously Listel.
Yep.
This is like it was just it's like,
I was
like hometown pride.
I was gutted that they were playing in the RIP camping area last year or whenever it was, because I was like, yes, the Stella are a download. Oh, I can't see him. Great.
More
this year
more
you
than
can.
deserved.
This year I
Yeah,
can
more
and
than
I
deserved.
will. Shout out RTO as well. They're fucking awesome. They're opening that stage. They're great. Saw them burn it down last year.
And now we're at Sunday, 15th of June.
And it's already Sunday.
The last day. Korn closing off the festival.
Well deserved, in my opinion.
Yeah, after their kind of sub slot a couple of years ago, which was amazing. I'm so excited for this. Like, this is a band that I've seen before. They're phenomenal live. I love their music. I grew up on their music, and to see them in this spot, I feel just so happy with that. It's going to be a phenomenal way to end the weekend.
Yeah, pretty much. I say no more. I think this is kind of interesting. I would argue, and I guess we can't know at the time, right? But like, given how good Tsunami C is, I'd swap them and Bullet for My Valentine round.
Agreed. Spirit Box,
Yeah.
I think, should have sub Sleep Token.
Yeah, I think so too.
Would have been a much better fit.
Yeah,
But I suppose it depends on like the availability. And
Yeah.
stuff, doesn't it?
But regardless, Spirit Box on main stage, fucking huge.
Yeah,
It's probably
and
that's probably going to be a, like
it's going to be one of the highlights of the weekend, I
fucking-
think.
It's going to be like dusk maybe, like just before sunset. Oh, it's going to be lovely.
You're going for a swim.
Sunday, I'm going for a swim.
Swim in the Tsunami Sea.
I'm going to swim in the Tsunami Sea because it's probably going to rain again.
I'm kind of intrigued to see Meshuggah. I've never delved into their music, but it's always been so influential to so many bands that I listen to. I feel like I kind of need to give it the time of day. And
Oh,
also just to hear the beautiful double bass drum part of Bleed, I feel like as a drummer I have to go and see that at a bare minimum at least.
Just to bring it back into Spirit Box quickly. I remember the last time they played Download, they were in the Avalanche tent, and like it was rammed, and it felt like one of those I was there moments of okay, yeah, next time this band comes back, they're on the big stage, they're like gonna really blow up.
They announced it before and they blew up, and I remember us questioning it before that set of like they should be moved up, up, and they never did it.
And I'm kind of glad they didn't, because it was quite
We got
a
to be in the
special
tent.
set. We were fucking buzzing afterwards. I
Yeah.
remember it. But I've kind of got the same feeling about this set for this year. Even though it's on a bigger stage, they've already established themselves. Really, I feel like this is the one where like if last time was, oh, these guys are going to be on a bigger stage, this one's going to be these guys fit on this stage kind of set.
These guys could headline.
And now they've got like more of a back catalogue to fill a set out.
Yep.
I think this is going to be one of the sets of the weekend for sure. Certainly one that I'm most excited about.
Like mentioning earlier with like the upcoming albums, Bleed From Within is a great band to go and see live. They've kind of become a little bit more maybe of a download staple over the past few years, but that's because they have great music, very energetic live. The crowds love them, and so I'll be there again. It'll happen.
That fucking second stage on Sunday has got so much going on, and yet I don't think I'll see any of it.
You won't?
I might.
You're
see
going to
the
miss Ghost Inside
I've-
again. You've still
again.
never seen them.
I'm fated to never see the Ghost Inside. Yes, okay, I'll go and see the Ghost Inside.
You have to go and see them. I've seen them
Yeah.
more times. Yeah, I'd love to see them, and I want to go and see Lorna Shore.
Yeah,
Depending
Lorna
on the
Shore's
clashes.
like a must if you've got the time. I
If
think.
Lorna Shore and Bullet clash, I'm definitely going to Lorna Shore. It depends on these set times, but again, with my deathcore arc I've been having in recent months, I really, really want to go and see them,
Mhm.
and that will tie in with some of the bands that I'm going to mention shortly. Has anyone got anything before Dogtooth?
No,
Because I
sh-
don't have anything in.
I've got a bit
House
on
of
the Avalanche.
Protection.
I got some stuff on the out.
Yeah.
Go on then, one of you, if you wanna.
Kids in Glass Houses. Like, Why not? I guess the choice on this day is going to be Korn on the main stage for some classic new metal, or Avalanche stage for Kids in Glass Houses for some Welsh pop punk, leaning on the pop side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Loved that band growing up. It's one of the first albums I bought. I loved them when I was like 13. And again, another band like Mallory Knox that I saw revived at Slam Dunk Festival.
Yeah.
So I might be inclined to go and see them again. Relive my teenage years.
The band for me on that stage that's most exciting is House of Protection. The former members of Fever 333, their new band, and their stuff is crazy. They've got like some sort of infinite energy perk when they play live. It's bonkers. I think that's probably going to be like a Steal the Weekend type set, I think. So all eyes on that, I think.
Should we move down to the Dogtooth stage?
Yes.
For the last part.
Dogtooth stage, like the 1-2 punch of Fit for an Autopsy into Whitechapel. Like,
no, it's not just a punch.
That's a spin kick. That's a baseball bat. That's, oh my Christ, it's going to be
lethal.
amazing. And that's like a 1-2 that I want to see back to back.
Cattle decapitation before that
as well. Yeah, it's just like deathcore galore on this. And again, if you put that with Lorna Shore on the second stage.
Novelists are proper heavy as well, aren't they?
Huh?
Novelists are pretty heavy as well, aren't they?
Yep. It just feels like there's just a beautiful deathcore vibe on this Sunday, and I am all here for it. Fit for an Autopsy, seen them live before, fucking amazing. Whitechapel, desperate to see them. Good shit.
I mean, President are the one I'm keeping an eye on here, because they've been teasing some stuff, whether it's, I don't believe it is, but whether it's tied to Sleep Token or not, I don't care. Like, the teasers I've heard, like, are giving me, like, a really good vibe. So I'm really excited to see what happens with them. I think they're expected to have some music out before the festival. But yeah, lots of rumours and lots of hype of what could happen. So I'm very, very intrigued by that one. Rumours that it might be a new project by Charlie Simpson.
Heard those rumours. We'll find out soon enough. So before we kind of go into like one band from each day that we're most looking forward to seeing, which is your favourite day?
Ooh. That's a great question. I think it's got to be Saturday, you know, especially the main stage. Like, is going to be such a celebration of the scene that we've watched evolve for the last few years. So, yeah, I think Saturday's going to be.
Yeah,
I know you
it's
agree.
Saturday for me as well, and not even just because of Sleep Token. Because I mean, I love Don Broco. I love seeing Don Broco live every time I get the chance. Loathe and Static Dress are expecting new stuff from them. Like Dale Seeker, Mallory Knox, Split Chain. It's just front to back a banging lineup.
I'm going Sunday. Korn, Spirit Box, Bleed From Within, Lorna Shore, House of Protection, Whitechapel, Fit for an Autopsy, Ghost Inside. Heavy shit.
So with this download lineup, if there was one band on each day that was unmissable, who would it be?
I had a feeling you might ask that. I mean, Friday for me is Weezer. It's fucking party time. Friday night. It's just going to be packed with bangers. Again, like I said, they're a band that you don't even realise how many songs you know of theirs and how much you enjoy. It's going to be such a fun time. Saturday, Sleep Token. Goes without saying. That's going to be an absolutely mammoth set. Totally unmissable. It's going to be a moment in time, I think. And third one on Sunday, Spirit Box. Similar to Sleep Token, I think it's going to be an iconic moment in that band's career and one that's looked back on for years to come.
I think Friday for me it's going to be Boston Manor. Seeing them in that spot on main stage, fully deserved, and I want it to be a phenomenal performance for them. Saturday for me will be Polaris, just an incredible band. I will see them every time they're on a bill where I'm at somewhere, like if it's at a festival, I am making the time for them. And then the Sunday will be Fit for an Autopsy. Become one of my favourite deathcore bands so quickly. Put on an incredible live show. Incredible back catalogue. Love it.
Cool. The band that I think is unmissable on the Friday is Unpeople. I think it's going to be a case of basically being able to have the bragging rights of saying you saw them at the size that they're at now, because I think things are going to be astronomical for them going forward. For the Saturday, I think I'm going to have to give it to Loathe. I don't think there's a band at the moment that's got so much pent-up anticipation for what's coming. So I think hopefully if we get new stuff by download or at download, either way, I think it's going to be great to see them back and sort of reclaim like the spot that they earned with their previous album. And on Sunday, I think the band that I think is unmissable is Korn. It's exciting to see a band like that finally get their flowers and get that opportunity. It more than deserved. Their sub-headline set a few years ago was one of the rowdiest crowds that we've ever been in, so I'm sure it'll be no different this year.
Let us know who you're most excited for each day of Download Festival. Well, that's us talking through the day splits of Download Festival. Fucking stacked lineup. Very, very excited for it, and I still feel there's going to be a bit more to add. So subscribe, because we'll end up doing a full preview. You can look back and get excited by watching over old vlogs as well. Yeah, I think this is going to be a fantastic festival season. I've got such high hopes for this in 2025. Just praying there will be good fucking weather. That's all I want.
It doesn't matter. It'll be a good time either way.
So we said at the start, the album recommendations are done. Dead. But that doesn't mean that sharing our favourite music stops. We have Ragamuffin FM, a playlist that we're going to be updating every 2 weeks along with new episodes of this podcast, and we're going to be including 5 songs each that we're loving at the moment, whether it's new, old, or anything in between. And we want to give a shout out to our favourite songs, so we're going to give a little spotlight song moment to one of our picks and tell you why we bloody love it.
My selection is Rivers of Sorrow by Paleface Swiss. After seeing that live, it's like a switch flipped, and I ended up listening to that song the next day while like on the train from Glasgow to Aberdeen while like doing bits of editing. Just listening to it repeat, and it's not really been turned off since I got back. Such a beautiful song, and then seeing it live has completely transformed it for me, so that's my spotlight.
I know we've just reviewed it, but I just can't stop listening to the new Spirit Box album at the moment. So my lead single, I guess, from my section of Ragamuffin FM is A Haven with Two Faces. It's probably my favourite of the non-singles on the album. Yeah, I just can't stop listening to the whole album, but this particular song is one that stuck out for me.
My spotlight song is going to go to It's Supposed to Hurt by House of Protection. I've been obsessed with this band lately, and this song to me is just like this unrelenting barrage of energy, and super easy to just fucking replay over and over and over. So, banger.
And that's the end of episode 50. We made it.
Wow.
Well done us.
We made it. If you're here, like.
We're going to hit episode 100 even quicker now.
We are. Double the speed,
Double the
fortnightly
Every
episodes.
fortnight.
Uh,
Lucky you.
Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Let us know down below what you've been enjoying recently. Like I say, who you're excited to see on the download lineup. We've got t-shirts available, ragamuffin666.uk. We've got the Ragamuffin Club, our Facebook community where we just love chatting with people, a bit better than the YouTube comment section. We've been talking recently about festival lineups that have been coming out, gigs that are being announced, which bands we're intrigued by. So come and join the conversation. I think that's about everything to plug, really, isn't it?
That's about it.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
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 Cool. Bye.
See you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. Bloody hell.